all over the country. We see footage coming in of people on the street videotaping, and the police come over and say you have to have a permit to videotape when there is no law. All over the country, government is lying and forcibly injecting children, saying there's a law they have to take every new vaccine. There is no law anywhere. All over the country, we are seeing parents told they can't pack their children's school lunches anymore, that they've got to buy it from this government, and that the federal government is over what they eat. The last vestiges of our free republic are being dissolved, decimated, demolished, removed right now. And you are the target. Remember that. I meant to get with the lawyer we had on, whose case is in the federal courts right now, Carl Mayer. I meant to bring up this point, but I ran out of time. It's in the news that Al-Qaeda is the main force that the West is arming against the Shiite Iranians in Iran, but also in Syria and Libya. I mean, that's admitted now. So how can we give up our rights because of Al-Qaeda when our government runs Al-Qaeda? And we just have to come down to the admission that we got taken over and the government is criminal. I don't care if the cop next door to you is a nice guy. I don't care if the school teacher down the street's a nice lady. I don't care if the guy that works the local water district's a nice fella. I don't care if the city planner you know is really good at poker and you guys have fun going out and getting drunk. They may be nice people individually, but at the top, it's run by wicked people. Our country has been globalized, not just federalized, because the feds themselves have been globalized. And the people running this planet don't just not care about our lives, they hate us. That's why they're in charge, because they're willing to do anything. And so I'll say it again, danger, danger, danger. Alert, alert, alert. We have been seized by criminals. They are dismantling every check and balance. They are training and arming up giant armies of paramilitary police and others. I was talking a while back to a family member of mine who's been in the Army like 24 years. They're as high up as you can get as a non-commissioned officer. And they were offered to be over an entire area of a base. And they said, no, I want to be a gunner on a helicopter. And when asked, why do you want to be sent back again? They said, I want to die on a pile of brass. And they're only allowed to be in the Army another year and a half. I guess officially, then you get out and they put you back in. And that's all these guys even know. I mean, they are completely programmed by what they've done. 24 years in every clandestine war, battle, you name it, and doesn't want to come home, basically. Just like, I guess, in the Hurt Locker. Just wants to be sent back. Now, you take somebody like that who has just become a creature of war, stare into the abyss long enough, you become the abyss, wedded to war. And war is wedded to him. Lord knows how much DU he's breathed. And I'd imagine when he probably dies younger than he should from it, it won't even be an issue. It won't even be an issue that there won't be people there to actually physically play taps. There'll be a recording of it. Because humans are programmable. And when we don't understand that we're programmable and we give ourselves over to programming, we lose our humanity. We lose our humanity. That's why you hear and see all this culture about zombies. And they got an article out now about zombie bees that get a parasite in them, and then the bee becomes a host and flies around bumping into things. And oh, Homeland Security put out a report saying prepare for zombie attacks. Get food and water. That's a sick joke on you. They're saying you're a zombie. They're teaching you that you're dead inside, that you're ugly, that you're worthless, that you need to be mowed down, because they know during a total physical collapse, they know that the general public will behave like zombies. This has all been programmed. It's all been prepared. It's all been set up. And once people have been programmed, they look at you and they don't care if they're slaves because they're following the program. What is smoking? It's a program. It's not just addictive. You get used to buying the cigarettes, opening them up, putting them in your mouth, lighting them, putting them out. It's the ritual. Sexual addiction, the same thing. Drinking, same thing. All this. They know that once they get you in the habit of using a cell phone, it won't matter if they admit in hundreds of studies it's giving you brain cancer. Doesn't matter if Sheryl Crow comes out and warns you. You're going to kill yourself because you're used to drinking out of that little pool. And it doesn't matter if somebody's poisoned that pool. You're like a gazelle that will go and drink from it and watch the other gazelles around you die, and you'll keep drinking because you're an animal. And you can't figure out long-term things. You're thinking only in the moment. And so I sit here watching us in a totally planned system. I see us being destroyed for lack of knowledge. And once they get somebody in this zombie-like state, a self-satisfied delusion, it's almost impossible to get them out of it because they don't want to get out of it. They don't want out of the matrix. They want to stay in it. I mean, it is a fact that for over 100 years, you can look at about 1910 as the demarcation point, the point of no return, that a eugenics-based government has been in control. Not in full control, but had its beachhead over the federal government, began to federalize states so they could carry out their eugenics program. It's a fact. For 40 years, they've been taking your blood at birth and putting it in a UN database. It's a fact that all the major GMO crops have had backdoor genes added to them to attack your organs, to give you cancer, and to reduce your fertility. It's a fact that they put souped-up, acid-based sodium fluoride in the water to wreck your endocrine system. It's a fact they chose out of thousands of plastic formulas, one in the 40s that releases estrogen to feminize men, hyper-feminize women. It is a fact that we are being absolutely murdered right now. It is a fact. Rob Dew, we have a major institute coming on tomorrow that's broken news that we're going to put up as a press release. I mean, I learned about this months ago, but they weren't ready to go with it yet, of hospitals doing secret medical tests for the FDA and EPA on their people. Well, of course, that's why in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they would take doctors and have them start out by doing lethal tests on foster children and military personnel and prisoners. They usually start them on prisoners. Well, these prisoners don't deserve to not have dioxin sprayed on them secretly at night. So we've got the medical end where we put them in there and we spray this on them. And then when they die, you take part of the cover-up. They all deserve to be killed anyways. When they die, you help us dissect them. And then next, now we're going to do it to some foster kids. These kids have bad gene pools. These are real cases I'm mentioning here. And then next, you're killing 5-year-old kids. And then next, you're at the VA pumping carbon monoxide, calling it a test, into face mask on veterans. Killing them. God almighty, man, I tell you. And then they take those people and they put them over the heads of your local hospital. See, they've put their people everywhere. See, it's only now that I really figured out that it's really worse than I said, and they've got their operatives all over the place. And the only reason they haven't killed me is because their plan's going basically on schedule. It's a little bit behind, and they don't want to stir everybody up. They got you in a coma. They've got you in a trance. They got you right where they want you, and they're going to kill you. They're going to take their time. I use the analogy of back when I had time to deer hunt and liked it. When I watched 20 or 30 doe come out to a deer feeder, I wanted to wait till a big buck came out, a big trophy. So when a spike comes out or a little 6-point comes out or something with a rack, 25 inches across, I don't shoot them. Because I know the big daddy's waiting and watching everybody out there to see if they get shot before he comes out. Or he wants to see what happens to that little rutting buck before he comes out and copulates, has Congress with one of those females. And that's exactly, they've got this whole thing set up. They founded IBM to do this. They founded Microsoft. They founded Facebook. Facebook's the name of the CIA file, a computer file for people's faces, face scans. Google, I told you all this, many years ago. Now it's admitted because people are so deep into the trance now that they're just throwing it out in everybody's face. You see, the globalist, they haven't told me this, but I've now reverse engineered it years ago, and then I was able to later find bits and pieces where they admitted it. They believe that a show like mine, they believe you're so weak. They believe you're so pathetic that basically all I'm doing is psychologically inoculating you to the fact that all of this is being done to you. So that when leaks come out and things that they don't fully control, because they're not in full control yet. But when they get in full control, they're going to drop the hammer. We're talking 90%, 80%, some of their more lenient documents will be exterminated. But there they are, laying all this out. And they believe that shows like mine psychologically inoculate everyone that this is going on. They believe that you're so weak, you'll just become comfortable with the way things really are. Because you're so set in the daily rituals, the daily habits that they've put you into. I knew 15 years ago all this recycling and stuff was about the system setting the precedent that they tell you what to do with something that sounds reasonable, and that it was a ritual to ritualize doing what you're told. And then later I saw government documents and think tank documents, we've covered them on air, where they admit they're habitualizing and ritualizing all this and setting the precedent with things that sound reasonable on the surface, to then come in and say, by the way, now you're not going to have more than one child. And by the way, you're going to live in a tiny house. And by the way, you're not going to have a car. And by the way, you're going to work more for less. But it's not for the environment. It's for their total control. While all the real environmental crises, open air genetic engineering, toxic waste dumping, All of that just goes on pell-mell because these people believe they're going to become God, and their religion is about not caring what they do. They think it's cool to destroy beautiful life force systems. They believe they get power from it. They had a Satanist 20 years ago kill the treaty oak, big famous oak tree, where they signed treaties and things here in Austin. He thought he'd get all this power by digging into it at night off a major road and putting weed killer in it. Oh, man, these globalists are so evil. I mean, if people knew that I'm not just here saying all this, if you knew that, I mean, we're facing the pit of hell. The absolute, pure, 100% crystalline evil. You'd realize none of this means anything. I tell you, it is a wake-up call, though, when you have basically no ego anymore. And none of it means anything. It's not exciting when some movie star calls you up at home. It's not exciting when some rock star calls you anymore. It's not exciting when a good-looking woman comes on to you. It's not exciting. None of it is exciting anymore. Of course, I'm more fulfilled than ever. But none of it, because I know it's all a projection. It's fantasy land. When you look at a beautiful woman on Fox News, licking her lips, looking sexually excited, she's looking at a camera. She's looking at a teleprompter. She's been trained to flirt with you, but it's digital systems being sent through a satellite into your television. The woman isn't really there. And I know you consciously know that, but I watch groups of men watch women on television like it's really their friend when the woman flirts with you. And folks, if you can understand that's not real, you can understand the rest of it. None of it's real. None of it matters. You understand that? All that matters is getting these controllers out of control. All that matters is getting you to wake up at some feeble level to what's going on so we can resist this. All right, the toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. I'm going to say it again if you got children. Every time I look at people's innocent, sweet little children, I get upset. The globalists are killing you and your family. Alex Jones here with a message that could revolutionize health in this country. Going back about a year and a half ago, I began to learn about the incredible health effects of Youngevity products. Aaron Dykes lost 92 pounds. We're going to show you some before and afters. Aaron, break down what happened, your story.
I've worked really hard with diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but I just didn't get the results. It just didn't happen. Then I saw what you were doing with InfoWarsTeam.com. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but I got it because I wanted to feel better energy. I wanted that nutrition. Didn't even understand how that could kickstart my own weight loss goals. But the products did that for me. I found myself suddenly losing weight, more energetic, wanting to exercise, wanting to eat the right foods.
And they don't even advertise it as weight loss. I want to challenge our radio listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com. Sign up as a distributor and get wholesale pricing discounts at InfoWarsTeam.com. Why don't you look on the right side? I do. There's so much good in this world. There's so many innocent people in this world. There's so many people that have beautiful hearts and beautiful minds who are good and kind and caring and constructive. But those people are naive because they think the rest of the world is like them. And to protect the good, we have to admit that there's evil in this world. Millions of people a year now die of bad drug interactions and infections in hospitals. It's the #1 cause of death in this country. Hands down. And the reason that's happening is because there's a culture of death in this nation. And it runs across the board. And we're much, much later in the ball game than most people think or want to even admit. That's all I'm trying to get out to people. All right, we're going to have open phones into the next hour. And I've got a lot of other news. I mean, look at Paul Ryan on NFL ref lockout. Time to get the real refs back. And then they've got Democrats responding. I mean, you know, we're talking about referees in a game while the troops are using depleted uranium that is a death sentence to all of them. It's just a very screwed up society. Television has allowed the system to do this. And the greatest mind scientists the world has ever seen have trained and researched to understand every little facet of our minds to manipulate us. And the only way to ever wake up, you know the old term, America slept or the world slept while evil grew. That's not just a figure of speech. People are sleeping. And you must awaken. So many say, well, if I awaken, what am I going to do about it? Just the act of awakening means that you will become more informed, and then you will be driven to warn others, and we can turn this around. You know, the biggest message to those that serve the system is you're being targeted by all this as well. And if you would just research what I'm saying, you'd find out I wasn't lying to you. Here's a quick story. We'll go to break and come back with your calls. Last week, I was driving along, and I saw cars all over the place with boots on them. So I pulled over next to a Mexican food restaurant on Barton Springs Road named Chewy's. Nice place. And I'm shooting some video of a car. It's not parked in a no parking area, but it's parked on the side. And it wasn't parked at Chewy's. It was parked across the little road there. And it had a boot on it and had a sticker saying, do not move this vehicle. And I just started shooting video of it, saying, you notice John Corzine can steal billions and all this can happen, but I'm seeing boots slapped on cars now for minor tickets and things. It's all part of the control freak system. And I hear these women saying, what are you doing? Is that your car? So I turn the camera off. I'll walk over. These two women are standing there. They weren't dressed like managers. I just said, you're the managers of this place, aren't you? They said, yeah, how'd you know that? And I said, I just could tell by your bearing. And they said, is that your car? We asked you that. And I said, no. Well, why are you filming? And I said, hey, you know the government shoots little kids up with syphilis. Started laughing at me. I said, oh, you think that's funny, huh? I know, that's crazy. Because if what I just said is true, we got an evil government. So you're not going to go look that up, even though it's declassified and admitted. You're just going to laugh at me. They were smiling and laughing. And I said, you've all been injected with cancer viruses. You take vaccines, don't you? And I said, hey, I'm not going to go eat in your restaurant. Okay, I was just taking video of this. So I go enjoy yourselves.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
I was sitting here during the 1-minute break, and they brought in the new InfoWars magazine, the October Global Edition. Don't show it yet. I'm going to announce it officially tomorrow. And I was having this moment where I was thinking about making a big announcement on air concerning the technocracy, and then they walked in with this. You'll know what I'm talking about tomorrow when I show you the cover. This is humanity's greatest challenge, and I do not feel worthy to be here communicating to you truths this hardcore, this huge. Man, I tell you, this new publication is powerful. I said I'd go to your phone calls, and I do intend to take a lot of them in this hour. Wow. If you like the last issue, this is going to really, really blow you away. Trying to find the cover story. Maybe I show people just the cover story. You know what? I'll just do this tomorrow. You know, it's almost exhausting to take off and not be here doing the radio show because my mind's working the whole time I'm here. And when I stay focused just on basic operations and everything else, it kind of keeps me distracted from the depths of reality to where it doesn't hurt me. I mean, when I really start researching stuff and confirm that my basic analysis has been absolutely on target, it hurts. I know why a lot of people don't want to admit all this stuff because, gosh, if you do, man, it is scary. But it's not even scary once you understand that it's here, this is the way it is, we got to do something about it. It's more just saddening. It's very pitiful. It's pitiful to see people with the pre-programming, the satisfied looks on their faces when they give you a preconditioned response. And you know they're like a biological android. They're a zombie. They were set in front of television from birth. They follow all these little templates that make them feel good about themselves. And as long as they are feeling good about themselves, again, I'm going to go to break and come back to your calls. It's just that I remember being 3 years old, playing Batman and Robin with the neighbor kid, jumping off the front porch with towels tucked into our T-shirts, and the neighbor kid looking up at me with stars in his eyes and saying, "We're Batman and Robin." And I remember being able to pull back from my shelf, from my body basically, see myself and the other child standing there and realize we're imagining we're superheroes. Superheroes aren't real. I'm on a planet in a universe, you know, in this galaxy, and I am finite. And then for years, having that deep understanding that I was finite and having these dreams every night, this reoccurring dream, where I flew out, my spirit flew out to the edge of creation, God's creation. And then there was the nothingness outside of God's creation. I liken it to a big spinning black obelisk, wheel, column, similar to what you see in the first Tron movie, but it's not red, it's black. And all the light goes into it. It's like the heart of a black hole. And outside of that, outside of the creation of God, outside of space-time continuum, there is nothing but the Creator. And here I am at 3 years old having thoughts and dreams like this, and I now realize that most children have those thoughts and dreams, and the New World Order's main design is to keep you from spiritually maturing, which begins, all of that is in you at a seed level as a child. This whole system is meant to ever keep you from developing so that they can rob your spiritual development. As Revelation says, they traffic in the souls of men. For more than 6 years, I've talked on the air about creating a social network. PlanetInfowars.com is in its beta phase. We're just launching it. And I want to invite all of you out there to be in on the ground level. Planet InfoWars is about people coming together, forming activist organizations, getting involved politically, hunting and fishing, gardening, dating. This is a place for people who love freedom to meet and to talk and to write and to post information. And I give you this pledge. We are not going to spy on you and sell your data to the New World Order. PlanetInfowars.com is free, so people who love freedom can get together. Connect with people who are awake and know what we're facing. Be active, organize, take action, go viral, create, contribute, resist, because resistance is victory. You are victory. It's waiting for you to breathe power into it. PlanetInfowars.com.